Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Star Midday News. I am Nadima Umar. Let's dive into today's top stories. Ghana Union of Traders Association back calls for President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency on the Galamsey menace, warning if illegal mining is left unchecked, it could dent his legacy. Also, NDC demands immediate withdrawal and subsequent prosecution of MPP's Isujaman parliamentary candidate Pius Enam Hajide following his latest revelation on the 2018 Australian visa scandal.
You must have one profession at a time. Maybe it is a talent God has given him to always have strategic ways of collecting money from people, putting them in the plane, getting them to the border, and ensuring that they deport them back to their country.
Also, Electoral Commission describes as premature NDC's demand for a forensic audit of the voters exercise, insisting almost all discrepancies uncovered in the provisional register has been addressed.
The forensic audit is not what is needed at this time. It is premature. The voters exhibition exercise in itself is an audit.
But the National Democratic Congress says it will not back down on its planned demonstration despite assurances from the Electoral Commission.
The responses they've given is not sufficient enough, and there has to be that independent audit so that we'll all be satisfied that the system is robust.
And 17 presidential candidates out of 33 have so far filed their nomination with the Electoral Commission to contest the upcoming elections. We'll be live at the EC headquarters for updates on the final day for nomination.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in-depth, in touch.
Thanks for choosing Star News. Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has urged President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency on the Galamsey menace. This move echoes demand by various stakeholders, including organized labor, Christian Council, among others, for an immediate action by government to curb the canker. The National Seed Trade Association of Ghana have also expressed concerns over the devastating impacts of illegal mining on the agricultural sector and have also released a statement demanding an immediate cessation of the practice. Here are excerpts of the statement.
Our greatest concern is the potential threat to seed production and overall agricultural productivity in Ghana. This issue is not just a distant worry, it directly affects our nation's food security and economic stability. Ghana currently faces a seed production deficit of approximately 50%, a situation that will only deteriorate if the Galamsey crisis is not addressed with urgency and resolve. We earnestly advocate for an immediate cessation of destructive practices, followed by a comprehensive assessment of the environmental damage. This will guide our efforts to reclaim and restore the affected lands, ensuring the future of our agriculture and the well-being of our nation. For the sake of our food and nutrition security, our environment, and the prosperity of Ghana, we urge our leaders to listen, act, and restore hope for a sustainable future.
We are working the phone lines to bring your conversation with the president of GUTA, Joseph Obeng. We'll bring you that conversation as and when we have it. But on the instruction of President Akufo-Addo, an ad hoc committee, ministerial committee has been set up to engage all stakeholders to assess government's efforts in dealing with illegal mining in the country. Elik William Auku has details of the composition of this committee.
So, Nadima, there's a letter from the Ministry of Information, and then it's titled Ad Hoc Ministerial Committee to Engage Stakeholders on Illegal Mining, and it's dated today, 13th September 2024, and it says, on the instruction of the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, an ad hoc ministerial committee has been set up to engage all stakeholders to assess government efforts in dealing with illegal mining in Ghana. The 5-member committee is led by the National Security Minister, Honorable Albert Kandapa. Other members of the committee are Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abujenapo, Minister for Defense, Honorable Dominic Netewu, Minister for Employment, Labor Relations and Pensions, Honorable Ignatius Bafo-Ewa, and finally, Minister for Information, Fatimatu Abubakar, and then it is signed by the Minister for Information, Fatimatu Abubakar. Nadima.
Right, thank you, Eliklim, for that. Let's go back to our earlier story and engage the national president of GUTA, Joseph Obeng, whose outfit is pushing for a declaration of a state of emergency. Mr. Obeng, what specific steps would you like to see the government take after declaring a state of emergency on illegal mining?
So I'm very happy. You just said that the president has set a committee, and I've also heard that some military personnel have been deployed. It's only under a state of emergencies that the military is deployed. It means that president has started listening to civil society organizations and trade unions. So it is in order, and this is exactly what we want the president to do, because this is a menace that we have to uproot. Otherwise, it's destroying our resources, and it's not helping our environment, our health, and everything, our water bodies, and all that. And so we all have to support the president, devoid of any politics. We've also called on the president to take this as an opportunity and see it as a support by civil society organizations by this pressure that they are putting to bear.
Dr. Obeng, well, per the release or statement that we have, the president is asking the ad hoc committee to engage all stakeholders in order to assess government's efforts. Do you think that is enough?
Yeah, there's also another way to go about it, and it also means that people, if we are sincere of what we are saying, is going to also bring out our solutions and things that will help the fight of this canker. And so it is in good stead that they do that. And you should also know that they've deployed military and then the police personnel to go. So it means that people's calls have been adhered to, and the president is taking steps towards solving this problem.
Right, but beyond the statements that GUTA has released, how do you plan to contribute to the fight against galamsey?
Yeah, so if we are called to be part of the committee that they are setting and all that, then we also give our input. For us, what is very important is that, galamsey have been there with us for time immemorial, and it was not creating any problem for our environment. With the exception that when the influx of foreigners came, especially being led by the Chinese, who got their machineries and all that to come and destroy our water bodies. So probably we have to go and evaluate how previously we were doing this, the small scale mining without hurting the environment and all that. I think there are lots of things to discuss that will bring this to finality. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for your insights on this. Dr. Joseph Obeng is the national president of GUTA. Now, the Electoral Commission has described as premature the NDC's demand for a forensic audit of the voters register, insisting almost all discrepancies uncovered in the provisional register have been addressed. Now, the largest opposition party have chided the Electoral Commission over anomalies found in the 2024 provisional voters register. The party, which has demanded a forensic audit, has served notice it would on Monday Monday, September 17, descend on all offices of the Commission in a nationwide protest to push for the audit. Addressing the media, the Electoral Commission said it is well equipped to correct the errors. Samuel Tete is the Deputy Director in charge of operations at the Electoral Commission.
While the Commission did not reject the proposal for a forensic audit of the register, the question is, what purpose will a forensic audit serve? The NDC's detection of discrepancies with the provisional voters register is not new. As the Commission has maintained, that is the essence of the exhibition exercise. It is to correct discrepancies. This is what is being done, as has been the case in the past. The Commission is of the view that the forensic audit is not what is needed at this time. It is premature. The voters' exhibition exercise in itself is an audit. It unearths discrepancies and allows for prescribed legal processes to correct the discrepancies.
Well, the Electoral Commission is also of the view that the planned demonstration by the NDC is misplaced.
The Commission strongly believes that the surest way to attaining a credible and robust register is not through demonstrations. There is simply nothing to demonstrate about. This is because the Commission has repeatedly requested the data on discrepancies from the NDC to no avail. We are of the view that the stance taken by the NDC will not produce a credible register. The Commission is of the view that the best place to resolve the issues they have identified is the discussion table. Urge them to submit details of the discrepancies they have identified to enable the Commission investigate the issues and demonstrate to them that the concerns they have been resolved.
Well, a former director of elections for the NDC, Elvis Ifriankwa, has stated that his party cannot buy the explanation offered by the Electoral Commission over anomalies found in the 2024 Provisional Voters Register. He insists the party will not back down until the Electoral Commission takes steps to produce a robust register that can be trusted.
In terms of responses, we've been here before. If you recall, before the 2012 elections, Dr. Baumia said that there were about 700,000 Togolese in the voters register. The EC then instituted the Justice VCRC CRAB committee. So it's happened before. We want to build confidence in the electoral system. And if these glaring absurdities have been found, how is it possible that places like the constituency of Atufosun and many other places, you have 2,000, 3,000, 1,008 people have been transferred in an illegal manner? Who had access to the system? If indeed people can have access to the system, it means the system is compromised. That's why we need to do an integrity test to check whether the system has been compromised or not. You don't want to wait till the election day and then you'll be taken unawares. Again, you have people who have been transferred to various places without their knowledge and consent. These are real matters. So the responses they've given is not sufficient enough. And there has to be that independent audit so that we'll all be satisfied that the system is robust, is credible, and can meet the expectations of all of us.
Still on election-related matters, the Electoral Commission will today conclude processes for filing of nominations for presidential candidates for the 2024 elections. So far, 17 out of 33 candidates have filed to contest 2024 presidential elections. According to the election management body, the form submitted by the candidates will be vetted before candidates can be given a green light or disqualified. Let's go over the phone lines and engage my colleague Obed King Gaglo. Obed, initially you had reported that some 15 candidates had filed to contest the presidential elections. Now we're hearing 17. Are we expecting more candidates to file today?
Yes, so Nadima, out of these 17, there are some more who are supposed to file because the total number of persons who are expected to file their nomination are 33. And so we are expecting that some other candidates will file because on the list we have political parties like the PPP who have not showed up yet and other independent candidates who have also not showed up. And so we are still here at the Electoral Commission headquarters. But Bernard Mona of the PNC just filed his nomination and is about to address the media. But before that, after filing his nomination with the Electoral Commission, he was optimistic that if given the chance, the PNC with the Nkrumah's ideology will be able to solve the problems of the country. So he's kindly speaking. I want to take a bite from him of what he's been talking about for Ghanaians. And so Bernard Mona is currently speaking.
The next step forward is to go out to the hinterland, come to you in your media houses, go to the farms, go to the fishing shops, go to every nooks and cranny of this country. Sell our message that every Ghanaian will be born into wealth and not debt. That the days where every Ghanaian owes 29,000 Ghana cedis would become a thing of the past. We will preach our message that English language will no longer be compulsory, but an optional language, and that we will use our Ghanaian languages, in particular Twi, as a first language, and Hausa as a second language.
Right. So, Nadima, that's Bernard Mona speaking to journalists after filing his nomination.
Oh, right. Obed, earlier, I know the independent candidate, Nana Stevens Japan, also filed his nomination to contest. Did he address the media?
Right. So, Nana Stevens Japan, who is pretty much a new face in terms of the independent candidate, who also is a businessman, says that if given opportunity, he will make sure that the currency of the Ghana cedi, which is depreciating, will rise up. And so that's the novelty, I beg your pardon, he says he's bringing on board.
Obed, thank you for those updates. That was my colleague, Obed King Aglo, who is currently at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission as the Commission concludes the processes for filing of nominations for the 2024 presidential candidates. 2024 presidential elections, I beg your pardon. Now, the opposition NDC is demanding the immediate dismissal and prosecution of the CEO of the National Youth Authority, Pius Enam Hajide. The embattled former Deputy Sports Minister is contending the Isujiman seat. His latest promise, free exeats for senior high school students in his constituency, while the concept of offering free permission for students to leave their boarding schools may seem like a novel idea, it raises intriguing questions about its feasibility and impact. Is this a clever strategy to win over voters, or just another lofty promise in the crowded field of campaign rhetoric? GH1 and Starr News' Elipli Maoko has more in this news desk report.
In the world of elections, promises are often the currency of choice. Campaigns buzz with assurances, some grand, others modest, and occasionally those that seem to stretch the limits of reality. Take, for instance, the recent pledge by embattled former Deputy Sports Minister Pius Enam Hajide, who is vying for the Esojaman seat in the Eastern region. Hajide has vowed to make travel to the United States for the 2026 FIFA World Cup a breeze for his constituents, should he be elected. This promise is not without its complications. Hajide's track record as a travel agent might raise eyebrows. See, back in 2017, he was embroiled in the Australian visa scandal, where individuals allegedly posed as journalists to secure visas for the Commonwealth Games.
Ufri Ghana, na uko Australia, ubetina eloplemo 18 hours. Enukrano, nipabi etumi di mechi yako.
We'll bring you the full report in our subsequent bulletin. But the NDC wants Hajide prosecuted following his admission of involvement in the 2018 Australian visa scandal and his statement indicating plans to engage in similar actions during the 2026 World Cup in the United States. Malik Basintale is Deputy National Communications Officer.
All we heard was that the CID was investigating the matter. As to how the investigation ended, we still do not know. I have mentioned names of people who paid monies to him through his travel and tour. I mentioned Emilia Letu here. She's alive. She's not dead. She paid 105,000 Ghana cedis to be taken to Australia. She was deported. Her money hasn't been given to her. Her life has also been deteriorated. All we are saying is that you cannot be an MP at the same time you want to be a connection man. You must have one profession at a time. Maybe it is a talent God has given him to always have strategic ways of collecting money from people, putting them in the plane, getting them to the border, and ensuring that they deport them back to their country. By which time you will not be able to find Pius Ena Majide again. Your money would have also been gone. So we are calling for his dismissal and immediate prosecution.
Similarly, the NDC's MP for Isujaman Thomas Nyakwampem accused the NYA CEO of promoting illegal migration.
Of the World Cup to gain some travel experience, but I strongly advise against going with the intention to stay and work illegally. I am committed to continue to develop Isujaman in order to make our beloved constituency an attractive place for all of you and others who desire to live here. Despite the controversy, Hajide has maintained his position. I have already said this. His recent association with this constituency has constantly brought us to the media, but for the wrong reasons. When Manasseh Azuri talks of corruption at YEA, he mentions Pius Hajide, a board member and parliamentary candidate for Isujaman. Unfortunately, Isujaman's name comes along. When you see videos of a politician promising secondary school girls of facilitating Eziat for them to leave campus because of his relationship with their headmaster, you hear the name of a school in Isujaman.
Meanwhile, political marketing strategist Professor Kobe Mensah believes the former deputy information minister is taking electorates for granted, an act that the academic says will come back to haunt him.
What Pius has displayed is a function of what we're getting in terms of our democratic processes. A lot more people think that once you have the money, you can secure the PC slots, and you could actually say anything that really would excite the voter and to vote for them to go into parliament. Now, there is nothing like orientating yourself towards political ideological positions. There is nothing like values. People don't place values in politics. People think that politics is about just say anything, and that's the result that we're getting. Completely unnecessary, completely irresponsible political messaging, wanting to win so you can say anything. But I think that our political parties must take the politics much more seriously. They must take things like orientating their members seriously towards the ideological positions, towards values of society, towards the real needs of the society. And you cannot actually call it a policy. Well, it would definitely have dire consequences on him because if you listen to some of the footages put forward by some of the media houses, I think your outfit, regarding, what people in that constituency think of him. Majority have actually described him as irresponsible. They've described his promises as deceit. Certainly, I'm not sure he would win the election because when people have seen that it's a deceit, it's a blatant lie, I don't see any reasonable votes are going to vote for him. And it would have a dire consequences for his political future.
Let's go to the camp of the NDC as flag bearer John Dramani Mahama has challenged government's claim of creating over 2 million jobs. He's also accused the Akufo-Addo-led administration of having no solution to the unemployment problem. According to him, government has rather worsened the situation with poor policies. He was speaking during a media encounter in Sunyani to climax his four-day campaign tour of the Bono region.
But certainly, like in all the other regions, youth unemployment is the main issue. The youth came out in their numbers, and it is clear that it is a ticking time bomb for us as a country. We need to accelerate the economy. We need to invest in the areas of the economy that will provide decent and sustainable jobs for young people. And we need to do that urgently. Certainly, the current government has no panacea for youth unemployment because they've taken the unemployment rate from 8.4% to 14.7% in just 8 years. And so when they talk about creating 2 million jobs, you ask, where are those 2 million jobs? If unemployment has risen to 14.7%, then you can't have created 2.something million jobs. But we all know that this is a government that is used to propaganda. And unfortunately, when you propagandize, you must keep your propaganda from reality. Unfortunately for this government, they are lost in their propaganda because they believe it. And so they repeat it like a nursery rhyme. And they believe in everything that they say, even though on the ground the reality is different.
Now to the NPP, flag bearer of the governing party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has assured that delays in the disbursement of nursing trainee allowances will soon be resolved. He insists, despite the delays, the current situation is better than the past where allowances were not being paid by the former administration. Addressing nursing students at the Teshi Nursing and Midwifery School, Dr. Bawumia stressed that if elected as president, he will ensure the delays that currently characterizes the payment of allowances is resolved permanently.
One of the things that I was clear about in the 2016 campaign, I was very, very adamant, and our party was adamant, that God willing, when we come, we will restore the nursing training allowances that were cancelled. And we have restored the nursing training allowances. There may be delays, yes, but allowance delayed is better than allowance cancelled. And we'll continue to make sure. And I'm working with the Ministry of Finance on a scheme, on a way to make sure we don't have delays. So I'm hoping that we can eliminate this issue of delays very soon for all of you.
Let's do sports now with Joan Saji.
All right, so let's start off from the NDC because flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, says his administration will conduct a forensic audit of expenditures on the 2023 African Games held in Ghana. Now, some weeks back, Kwabena Woyome, the ranking member of Parliament on Youth and Sports and Culture Committee, made startling revelations that $15 million was spent on feeding athletes during the 2023 African Games. Now, speaking during a media encounter in Sunyani to climax his 4-day campaign tour of the Bono region, John Mahama indicated that the next NDC government would expedite cases of alleged misappropriation of funds.
We will launch Operation Recover All the Loot. And so we're going to do forensic audits into different funds. The All African Games, we're going to audit it. And I mean, how, I forgot how many athletes they were could have eaten food worth $50 million. I mean, nobody can understand, a thing like this. And so we want to see how, some of the figures you hear in respect of the All African Games are astounding. And so we're going to investigate that.
All right, now let's move to Nsoatreman FC, and they would host two-time Algerian League One champion CS Constantine in the first leg of the CAF Confederations Cup preliminary round match of the at the Accra Sports Stadium at 3 p.m. today. Now, coach of the side, Karim Zito, says the standard of pitch of some stadia in Ghana affects the performance of players, and he has welcomed the ban from CAF.
it shouldn't have happened. Because when you come to Africa and we talk about football, I think Ghana stands tall. And then when you go into the coaching itself, factors affecting performance, the field is your part of factors affecting performance. And these boys we are using are used to this type of fields outside. And so when they come here, they feel very uncomfortable, afraid of injury. And then look at the goal scored against it. It was, if the field were to be a good field, maybe he wouldn't have missed this kick.
All right, that'll be all for sports. My name is Jones Aji.
Thank you for those sports updates. But before we go, the national president of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, Samuel Afote Otu, has admonished staff to stay away from political controversies ahead of the December 7 general elections. According to him, the duty as judicial service staff is to the law and the judiciary and not to any political party. Samuel Afote Otu made this call during the 2024 annual Judicial Service Staff Deba in Kumasi. And that's how we wrap up this edition of Star Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. I am Nadima Umar Uthman, but for more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. Good afternoon.